Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Sandra and I make videos all about cybersecurity, technology, and work vlogs. And today we have a special guest, a software engineer.
I'm back.
So yeah, so we're gonna kind of be making a follow-up on the past video that we made, just like comparing the two careers overall. So definitely check that out in the link below if you're interested. So with that, we're just gonna hop into today's topic, which is basically the differences between our hiring processes. So everything that is on our resume, we're gonna be sharing today, whether that's internships, side projects, GPA, classes, different things like that.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Hey guys, so for those of you that don't know me, I'm Bo, and it's good to be back. It's very good to be back. I've been working for the past 2 years, almost.
We're gonna start off with kind of the education side. I do have a video on what my resume looks like if you guys are interested.
Make sure to check it.
Yeah, but for the most part, maybe we can go over the basics, like major, GPA. Did you put classes on your resume?
Okay, I went to Maryland College Park and I studied computer science, and I did put my GPA on my resume.
So what was your GPA?
Oh, you want to know?
Yeah, yeah, that was the point. What was your GPA and then, yeah, your major, yeah.
Okay, I don't remember my GPA on top of
Around
my head,
ballpark.
but I think my overall GPA was like 3.7-ish, 3.6, 3.7. I don't remember the detail. I didn't do well in a few of my gen eds, and I switched major too. But my major GPA was 3.9 for my major courses, the ones I really care about. I tried to do well in them.
Alright, so my major was information science and technology, and my GPA I think was also around 3.7, 3.8. I don't think we did major GPAs. Maybe we did, but I mean, it might have been on my unofficial transcript. I feel like my major GPA was probably a bit lower than my overall, honestly, because I actually did better on my gen eds.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of funny. I mean, I feel like they were easier, so yeah.
I don't do well in those easy classes, clearly.
I did used to put my coursework on like data structures and algorithms, relevant courses where I'm talking about like project management, quality assurance. I used to put those on my resume, but then after I was like a junior, because I would already had relevant internships, so like there was not enough room to fit it all in, so I just got rid of my coursework after junior year.
So that's like the first section, pretty much like a quick introduction about who I am, what's my GPA, major, etc. I like to put a skill set category, mostly putting down the languages that you know, and I know for me in particular, my school offers different tracks, so I like to put some relevant courses that stands out. For example, I was doing the data science specialization. We also have a cyber security specialization, and if you're a general track computer science student, you technically don't need to take a lot of the harder courses, more specialized courses in order to graduate.
Yeah, and I kind of had a similar section. I think it was called tools and skills and tools, technical skills and tools. That basically just had my languages. Make sure you list your coding languages in order.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're interviewing at like a big tech company, you shouldn't put a language that you don't really know in there, like React, unless you can put like beginner level or something, because they're just gonna think that you at least know that intermediate to advanced level of that language. So if you don't feel comfortable coding in that language in like a coding interview, then you probably shouldn't put it on there. And then I think I had a section for tools, and that was just smaller things like different IDEs, different NoSQL databases and stuff like that. But again, since they were so niche, I feel like I don't really know if that even made a difference in my resume in terms of having people like hiring me or making me stand out at all. Did you have any like side projects that you had on your resume?
That's a very good point. So for example, if you attended any hackathons, you can put those projects on there if you want. I think that would be amazing. But for me in particular, I'm not a huge side project person in college, at least. I did build stuff, but not for competition or bragging, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I think on my resume I don't think I had any side projects, honestly. I know that your advisors and your professors are probably telling you to put a bunch of side projects and put them on your resume and it'll help you stand out, but honestly I feel like I didn't really look officially for internships until my sophomore year, so maybe that was a reason why I never had them, because I would assume in your freshman and sophomore year, that's kind of when you have mostly projects or like side projects or even projects from your classes on your resume. But then after that, you kind of slowly get rid of them as you add on more internship and like relevant technical experience. So that was why I never really had any side projects. At most, I would probably have the projects that I did from my classes, and those were just like games and stuff. Like We created like a mastermind game, a bingo game. Honestly, companies never really ask me that in resumes or in interviews either. I mean, I guess there are times when they're like, yeah, like what else do you work on outside of classes? Yeah, maybe I would talk about the things I'm interested in, but I never really put them specifically on my resume. So now we can talk about internships. For the most part, I had, and I'm also going to include some undergrad research on here. So
nice.
So in my sophomore year, I had a internship with the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and this was a externship actually. So they came to my school and we basically worked on these projects once a week. But yeah, it was really interesting. We basically just learned how to use all of their tools, how to analyze all of their data, and mostly worked off of Excel and spreadsheets in that internship. And then from there, I also did an undergrad research assistant position with one of the professors at my school. I guess they were working on a big data project, but honestly, I didn't have that much experience in Python at the time. So for the most part, I was doing like the menial work that kind of just helped prep the data for the actual PhD students and master's students. Yeah, who were working on the actual algorithms and stuff like that. But it was still pretty cool. It was working off the data API, the Twitter API data that that was the first time probably I've ever pulled data from an API before. So that was pretty interesting. Did a software engineering internship with JPMorgan Chase. And I'm not going to share too much about that internship, but we basically just built a full stack application in a team of 4 interns, which was really cool. Because I thought we were going to be, working on some like small tasks or like helping them on some like bug keeping or something, but we actually got to build something from scratch, which was really cool.
That's amazing.
And then yeah, from there I TA'd 4 courses. I also tutored for all of the CIS courses in my college. I mean, besides like my part-time jobs, which aren't really relevant because they're not technical, but I also was a computer repair assistant at a computer repair shop. So that was kind of interesting too.
Hardware.
Yeah, mostly working with hardware, replacing phone screens, laptop screens, motherboards, stuff like that.
Yeah, so when I changed my major to computer science, I also found my first computer science internship. It was related to my campus, and it was an on-campus job. So those are definitely the easiest ones to find. So I would recommend looking into your school, like computer labs, certain clubs, department. They're always looking to hire computer science students to help maintain their website or whatever. But I had a friend working there, so he referred me. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you. And that definitely opened the door. And I did not know many programming language at the time, so I spent a lot of time learning, and it was also the first time I got exposure to React and D3, which is a visualization tool that can be used for front-end applications. So that was very helpful. And I would say after that, I took summer classes trying to catch up to my graduation dates because I switched my major later on. And I kind of figured like those classes were very important. They were algorithm classes. So prior to taking that class, I actually did not know how to solve a lot of the algorithm questions, and that's how I knew like I have to take this first, and then interviews will be a lot easier. So I tried to do really well in that classes, and I become a tutor for that class as well because I think it's so relevant and I want to keep myself sharp. So I would tutor other students, and I remember vividly because I was able to tutor this student. During my interview for my upcoming internship for the summer, I was interviewing with a fintech company, and they would ask me behavioral questions, and the other questions asking me, for example, tell me a time where you explain something to someone who doesn't know it. And I was like, oh, I was just doing that to my student. I was tutoring this class, like it was really helpful. And then for the technical part, they also asked me an algorithm question because I kept it so fresh, like I was able to do it and solve it, and that opened the door for me. And after my internship at that fintech company, I learned a lot and made a really good connections. And I think it definitely boosted your confidence. And yeah, I think that led me to my current role.
Even though I come from like a dev or more like software development focused background, I did get a certification in computer security and digital forensics that I forgot to say, which was kind of the only thing that I really had on my resume that was cybersecurity focused to get into my entry-level role in cybersecurity as a security analyst. And I did not expect that to be the thing that got me a real job, or like a full-time job. But basically, like the classes I took were just like 2 or 3 above my normal coursework or course load for my major. So basically I took some QA courses or quality assurance courses, digital forensics, as well as a few network security courses as well.
So definitely very helpful.
Oh, one thing is, have you ever written a cover letter for any of your jobs?
Oh
Or do you
my
think they're
God.
necessary?
I have. It was when I first started applying because I thought cover letter was like a norm because I'm also a business major, so a lot of the business roles they require you to write a cover letter. So what I would do is I would create a few templates and then I would try to reuse them. But later on, when I only look at tech roles, pretty much if they ask me for a cover letter and if I don't really see myself working there, then I just skip it. Like I prefer not to write cover letters, but I can see the pros in it. So why not? How
So
about
you think it helps you stand out, but
it could, or it could also burn you down. It's a double-edged sword.
so make sure you're writing a good cover letter if you are gonna
Yeah,
write one. Don't
for
just.
sure.
I'm sure
Don't
people
just-
can
yeah.
tell when you're
Yeah,
copying
when
and
you're a
pasting.
template, because it's not authentic.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
really want to talk about like your connection with the company, not something like that can be applied to any company, for example. Because if you just use a template, the company can tell. Because what you say is so generic.
It's so
like,
generic.
So generic. Like those are recruiters. They work with this. Like they seen thousands of cover letters, so they can tell it's another template. So make sure it's authentic. Don't reuse template. I mean, you can use small pieces, small sentences, chunks, but yeah, just try to keep it targeted.
Gotcha. So if you're gonna write one, at least write a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I mean, I think I also used to submit cover letters, but mostly for companies, I guess, I thought were cooler. Actually, the first time I wrote a cover letter was probably for when I applied to Spotify. I think they had a bunch of like data engineering roles I thought sounded cool, and I think they might have required a cover letter, or they were the first application that the cover letter was like, it wasn't just like on like a random page at the end of the application. It was
Yeah.
right in the middle, so it made it look like it was important.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe I should write one. And I ended up writing one. I actually based it on one of my friend's cover letters, which sounds bad, but just her format. I mean, I obviously couldn't copy her structure because she was a different major than me. But yeah, I basically used that as a reference, but I never got back, or like no one ever got back to me from that role anyway. So yeah, and maybe I just wrote a really bad cover letter, or
Yeah.
they just, yeah. So that's why I feel like I
You
never
never
really
know.
liked cover letters, but I mean, I'm sure there's some people that use it as their secret weapon. If they're really good writers and know like exactly what the recruiters are looking for, then
Yeah.
yeah, that would help. But I would definitely look online for like resources to write a good cover letter.
Yeah, I would also say have a good resume paper. Definitely can help you stand out if it's in person.
True.
For example, career fair. A lot of time, other students they just use the lab paper, but I bought like premium, in a sense, from high school. Like my leftover premium resume paper, which were like thicker, and it helped you stand out.
Feel fancy.
Yeah, they feel fancy. Like I got compliments. They're like, "Oh wow, this is a legit
is
resume
legit."
paper." But yeah, like I mean, sure, like it could help. Maybe not so much. I doubt it because most of the bigger companies is always apply online, electronic. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, in person, I would say it could help if you have a fancier resume paper. Makes you look like you care more. One time I also heard a advice which is targeted resume. Depending on the company, you might want to shift and change your things to target more of their keywords. And one thing I tried was to have different resume for different companies. And I would bring a folder with me and then label exactly which company I'm going to and have a resume ready for them. And it looks more formal for the company as well. If they see you sort out your resume in front of them, they're like, oh, you're not just gonna give me one. They ask me, oh, what's taking you so long? I'm like, oh, I'm trying to find the resume for you. Like,
Oh wow, that makes them feel so special.
yeah, exactly. Like you are making,
That's funny.
yeah, exactly. So that could be a thing you can try. So it doesn't look like you just have a pile of resume ready to hand out to
Like
everyone.
candy.
Yeah. Also be selective. Like I try to study the list of employers before going to the career fair and label exactly what I need, and then run the shortest route to find out exactly what path I need to
Okay.
take and
Very sweet.
not repeating it. It's a really hard problem to solve, trying to go to each point once. But you know, if you know, you know. But anyways, not that deep.
Software engineer.
Yeah, not that deep. But yeah, that's a advice that could help you.
Okay, that's actually really good advice. And one piece of advice that isn't as fancy, I feel like, is that my teacher once told me, or like my career advisor once told me, that you should put that you are a U.S. citizen, or if you're a permanent resident, somewhere on your resume, like maybe at the bottom footer or like the header somewhere, like in a lighter font, just to show them in case, because recruiters are looking at your resume for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and they're clicking yes or no, putting you in a pile. You don't want to give them a reason to say no, especially if you're, I mean, we're Asian, so like, I don't want to use the race card, but sometimes your name might be a little more foreign compared to like Americanized names. So because of that, like that could give potentially a reason to the recruiter to put you in a no pile. Maybe because the company doesn't take international students or they don't have visas available. So yeah, just like make it easier for them by just saying like permanent resident or US citizen. And again, it's really a shame that you have to do that or even consider that if you have a more foreign sounding name. But you know, it's just like a backup insurance policy for yourself too. Okay, so the next thing is extracurriculars. Did you put any clubs or hackathons, you know, anything that you did outside, conferences, things like that on your resume?
I say no. I don't think it's that relevant, but I hear people say, sure, creates more character. But I doubt they care that much. They will figure out what character you are when they meet you and talk to you. So I didn't really put down any of my clubs or extracurricular activity.
What about awards?
I say if it's like awards, I put it in my bio section. So it's like a quick one sentence, like just the title, awards. I don't really find it as important to put extracurricular on your resume. Like I already have a lot of stuff that I want to put on a resume. I don't feel like I can find a good location for them.
Do they ever ask you about them in interviews, or I guess you can mostly refer back to your
most of the time
internships.
If you have a behavioral interview, they're expecting you to tell them about your experiences, and that's a perfect chance to say, oh, I was in this club, I was doing something for blah blah blah, like doing X for Y. That's when you tell them about your extracurriculum. So if they have the behavioral section, I don't find it necessary to even put it on your resume.
So for me, I think that a lot of the advice I was getting on my resume, specifically in the beginning, was that you should get more student organizations on there, or extracurriculars, or volunteer experiences. I guess it's just like different perspectives, but for me, I did put like things like hackathons. I put some of the conferences I attended, although those I guess weren't as relevant later on. I mean, I feel like sure you attended the conference, but that doesn't prove that you did anything there. It just proves that you attended. But I only really put that there after I went to the Grace Hopper conference, and I feel like that was just a big conversation starter for different recruiters because it's the biggest tech conference for women. And then yeah, that was the main reason why I started putting that. And then I did put some student leadership positions on there, but I honestly don't think I really got that many questions on it. Maybe for behavioral questions, if they ask a question about tell me about a time you did XYZ, that's when I would bring up maybe a leadership position that I held. But besides that, yeah, no one was really like, oh wow, you were in VSA, cool. Like, yeah, like no one really says that. And then I guess I did have a section for awards later on, but I don't know if that was really that relevant, honestly. That was also in like my top section, but I mean, no one really knows unless you got like a national award that people know about. I feel like recruiters wouldn't really know. Like maybe a technical person would know, but I don't know if a recruiter would really know about like all the niche awards that are out there. Okay, so that's actually it for our resume walkthrough. Thank you guys for joining us. Do you have any last minute advice for anyone who might be working on a resume or CV?
I would say definitely search up keywords like resume for FANG companies. Study what other people put. I mean, I've seen a lot of creative resumes. Don't be afraid to make your resume creative and put some design, art into it, and just make sure it's visually appealing. Because now we are going to like a digital world, especially in the tech area. I think having a fancy resume is actually help you stand out, but it might actually deter their resume reading machine because they might not be able to pick up stuff as easily because they're not used to your fancier resume. So that, but if there is a recruiter looking at your resume and it looks good, yeah, I say it's a benefit.
I mean, I feel like anything you put in a resume, like make sure it makes you look good, and make sure the descriptions for your actual like resume bullets for your jobs or interviews, or internships, show that you did something to help whatever company or project or team that you're working for, rather than just like saying that you did this, but also give like reasons why you doing that was important enough to benefit the company. I already hit a pretty long time on this video, so hopefully I can cut it down. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and turn on post notifications if you want to see more videos from us. I post videos every Wednesday at 2 p.m. and Sundays at 12 p.m. And if you have any video suggestions that you would like to see, definitely drop them in the comments below. I get back to every single comment, so don't be afraid to drop one down there. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!
Thank you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe.